How's it going, everybody? You got the Razman coming at you here with another video, and today we need to watch out, cause here they come. It's been a while, but they're back with style, so get set to have some fun. They'll bring you action and satisfaction. They are the Chipmunks. Chipmunk. They are the Chipmunks. Guaranteed to brighten your day. Sorry, I'm not a singer, but when you feel like a laugh, give them a call. They'll give you a call, and if you feel like a song, tune into them and sing right along. They're the Chipmunks, coming on stronger than ever before. They're the Chipmunks. Alvinnn, Simon, Theodore. I do. That's right, Nickelodeon has brought the Chipmunks back to television for the first time in 25 years with a brand new show that's going to be on weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, called Alvinn and the Chipmunks. So this is going to be my thoughts on the first 4 episodes, as I didn't know about the show and I just happened to catch a commercial for it. Caught a replay of the first 2 episodes yesterday at 2 p.m. and then DVR'd the next 2 episodes because they're little mini 15-minute episodes, much like the old 80s series. In fact, just like it, along with many other things, but we'll get into that, of course, after the intro. But yes, I watched all 4 episodes back to back. So this is going to be my mini review on the first 4 episodes and my overall first impressions of this brand new Chipmunk show as a lifelong fan of the Chipmunks. Today on the Razman's Reality. Alrighty, well, I don't remember the name of each episode, but I do remember what each episode was about. So that's how we're going to go about attacking things here. The one episode name that I do remember is the name of episode 1, which is called Talking Teddy. In this particular episode, Theodore has a bear that's very similar. If you're old enough and you're a fan of the 80s show, you would be. But if you're old enough to remember a talking bear that used to go around by the name of Teddy Ruxpin, I always mess up that name, but you know who I'm talking about if you are old enough to remember that bear. But it's the same type of thing. This bear says phrases, he tells you he loves you, he's just a thing marketed toward little kids to give them confidence. He has a nightlight built in, which later on in the episode there's some things happen that convinces Theodore not to use the nightlight. But the main thing about this bear and why he's a driving plot point is that we learn that this bear is a crutch for Theodore. This bear is kind of like Theodore's protection in life. And Alvin and Simon are just so sick of it, and they're like, please don't make us watch another Talking Teddy episode because you've done the most chores, Theodore. So they come up with this idea to reprogram Talking Teddy by using Simon's smarts to create a computer motherboard that will allow them to type into the keyboard whatever they want the bear to say. So naturally, in typical Chipmunk fashion, Alvin abuses his power and then later learns a life lesson. Episode number 2 is an episode where the Chipmunks go back to school, and I actually think that may have been the name of episode 2, but I'm not entirely sure. But they go back to school, and this is where we first meet Brittany. Brittany is the assistant to the new principal of the school, who Alvin has fallen head over heels in love with. So Brittany acts as the antagonist to Alvin, trying to keep him from seeing the principal, and Alvin does all kinds of crazy things to keep getting sent to the principal's office. He gets himself suspended. He spies on Dave with the principal, and again, as is the running theme of every Chipmunk episode, a life lesson is learned. I'm not going to be giving away the entire plot because this whole thing is trying to entice Chipmunk fans to watch these episodes. So, the next episode, episode 3, was about Alvin deciding, because he sees green goo coming out of a closet and a guy with full-on security gear at the school, that the school is being invaded by aliens. So something happens to Theodore and it causes Simon to actually start to believe Alvin after he analyzes the mix, the green mix that Alvin brings home from the closet. And so they go in search of aliens, and of course there are no aliens, and the life lesson is don't jump to conclusions. Now, I did give away pretty much that entire plot, but it's still a funny episode to watch. It's just one of those episodes where you can't really not give away the majority of what happens. I didn't tell you what the goo actually was, though, so that will remain a mystery for you. And finally, the 4th episode, which I saw yesterday, was an episode where Jeanette had a birthday. She believes in magic, so they pull a Harry Potter on her, they being Alvin, Simon, Theodore, Eleanor, and Brittany, and they give her a magic wand and they do things to trick her into thinking that she can actually perform magic. Things get out of hand, and Jeanette learns that you have to grow up, but the other chipmunks and chipettes learn that it's okay to believe in things you believe in, because if you let life get too complicated, it can mess up your friendships. So, what do we take away from these first 4 episodes of Alvin and the Chipmunks? Well, the first thing to take away, if you're a lifelong Chipmunks fan and grew up on the 80s show like I did, and grew up with the iconic Chipmunks Christmas special, among other things, is that you get the return of the entire voice cast from the 1980s television show, with the exception of Brittany, who is now played by the daughter of the original voice of Brittany. So they sound very similar, but not entirely the same. So that factor alone blew my mind away. All these guys are still alive. It is like what they did with Rob Paulson and the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, getting him to come back and play a turtle times 10, because they got every living member of the voice cast to come back, and they sound exactly the way they used to. The difference now, of course, being that the show is CGI computer animated and just deals with a much more modern theme. And the only real change that we see, which is pretty much my only black mark on this entire first 4 episode run, is that Jeanette was seen, as I talked about in the last episode mini recap, as someone who's gullible. She was always just as smart as Simon, and that's why her and Simon ended up having a relationship, and they really fed really well off each other. So I don't know if I like the idea of Jeanette being gullible and not smart, and Eleanor just is like the normal Chipette now, and Brittany seems to be the Chipette with the grudge on her shoulder, as she always was. Although now it seems to be intensified, because instead of being friends who eventually become boyfriend and girlfriend Monk, it seemed very much as though Brittany and Alvin were at odds with each other, which is not what Chipmunk fans of the old school would remember. But I'm willing to give this a shot, this dynamic between Alvin and Brittany, because I think it will make them falling in love later on down the line a lot more interesting, because it'll force them to realize that they actually do have a lot more in common than what they want to admit. Now, granted, in the next 3 episodes, we didn't see, yeah, I got that right. I almost thought I got it wrong because it was 4, but it was 3 episodes that Brittany was in. In the next 3 episodes, we didn't see them at each other's throat as much, except for when Simon and Alvin, my bad, were trying to rescue Theodore from the quote-unquote aliens. Brittany was there as an antagonist and Alvin's way again, but it wasn't as in your face, because in the Jeanette birthday episode, they were all on the same page and really wanted to do well for Jeanette. So I think they are friends, but Brittany just doesn't like Alvin, Alvin just doesn't like Brittany, so that is a dramatic change from the original cartoon run that I hope will change and get better over time. But this is everything that you'd want a Chipmunk series to be. None of the characters have changed beyond the dynamics that I just mentioned. The Chipmunks are identical. You can always tell Alvin, Simon, and Theodore apart. Nothing has changed about Alvin. And really, as we've seen in the films, as an example, Alvin is kind of a character in and of himself as the cocky leader guy who thinks he can get away with everything, you know, the bigger than the rich's ego, is really a character that works much better in this day and age than he ever did in the 60s, 70s, or 80s. So I really enjoyed this show. I think it's going to be great to see the Chipmunks every day in scenarios that they could not do in movies with the full-on live action type aspect. I think an animated episode aspect is exactly where the Chipmunks belong. These are better than the Chipmunks movies that we've seen recently, since the animated ones, that is, since the live action movies happened. And this was better in a lot of ways than the second and third Chipmunk movies were as a whole. The first one was great. The fourth one I'm holding out hope for. The second one and third one were still very enjoyable, but they're not as good as the first. But this was really well done, and it just gave me such feels. And the bottom line is that for me, finally there's a reason to watch weekday television again and not miss it. This is going to be a lot of fun and really great. I don't know if I'll be doing Chipmunk reviews all the time, because obviously it's going to be a daily show and I don't want this to become a Chipmunk channel. But if this video gets a lot of response to it, if I get new viewers from it, or if my existing viewers really like it, I'll probably do a thing on the weekend of like a week recap of all the episodes. But I wanted to for sure get thoughts on the first 4 out there to let people that are closer to my age, or at least old enough to remember the old Chipmunk show and the old Chipmunk dynamic before these current movies came out, to know that it is back on television. And I can't believe it's been 25 years. That makes me realize just how old I've actually become. But let's not go there, shall we? Instead, let's end the video. So, those are my thoughts on the first 4 episodes and overall impressions on Alvin and the Chipmunks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are a subscriber to my channel and you missed it, I'm doing a Q&A, so you can click right there to get to that video and ask me questions. The answers will be posted next Monday. if for some reason you're watching on a device that won't let you click on annotations, you can always check the latest episode playlist. It is the video entitled Q&A next Monday. Ask your questions. And if you're new to my channel and you like what you saw here today, please subscribe, because I would love to see you again. And don't forget to like and share as well, because those always help with views. And finally, I would ask you to please consider becoming a Patreon sponsor of the Razman's Reality. All donations, however big or small, no amount limit necessary either way, gives me an opportunity to gain more to then give back to you as part of this YouTube program. And as always, this is reality according to the Razman and Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.